Right, I'll do it this time. So, welcome to this segment two of the football referee with myself, Emmy Hickins, and he calls me bruv.
And me, Trevor Gear, and he calls me Bruv.
Yeah, he calls me
And
cuz.
and we call Tony the Enforcer.
Hello,
Yeah,
everyone. Welcome back to section two.
yeah. Right, okay. So, um, let's start with the rules again, because there's something that we missed at the last one from the last rule. So this is rules that FIFA had made for the for this World Cup. Maybe it's a carry on, but I think we've talked about some of it. But it says players have 10 seconds to leave the pitch when subbed. If not, their team will play with 10 men for a full minute. I think we talked about that one. And then this one says referees can start a 5-second countdown for throw-ins and goal kicks. If exceeded, possession is overturned. So I think we talked about that one as well. I thought it was 8 seconds. Is it 5 seconds?
5 seconds, yeah.
5 seconds, yeah. Now, this is the one that we've not talked about. It says players who cover their mouths when confronting an opponent will receive a red card.
Mm,
That's
right.
new, isn't it?
Interesting.
That was
Yeah.
interesting.
Now, we're no stranger to how that must have started, are we? Vinicius Jr. against is it AC Milan? One of the players anyway. I can't remember the
Yeah.
game now. But it was a UCL match, wasn't it?
Mm.
And this guy covered his mouth and he muffled something under his, you know, shirt. And I think he was sent off. I think he
Yeah.
was sent off. Yeah. Right. So what do we make of that in the World Cup?
Yeah, I feel like it's good in a sense that so if there are some abuse coming from each other's sides, at least
Mhm.
we can, because there are very good lip readers in this world.
Mm,
They can
Yeah.
actually, they'll be able to see what he said and like, yeah, he said this, either send him off or not.
mm,
Uh, but in sometimes when you don't want the fans to hear between some players talking,
mm,
it's good sometimes in a sense,
mm,
to cover the mouth so we don't, because at the end of the day there are some
mm,
privacy things that some players are going through that obviously we don't know, so
mm,
they don't want everybody else to know as well.
mm,
So in those type of cases, I would
mm,
say it's fine. But when it comes to game time, especially when it's game time,
mm,
uh, if there's abuse being thrown around,
mm,
especially not just from the player side, it's also from the fan side, because sometimes the fans can influence the players as well in some
mm,
cases.
mm,
I'm not going to say which fans they are from which country, but uh, there's always we can you can always tell
mm,
which fans they are.
mm,
So you know, especially in those games, uh, it's good to be able to see what they're saying because, yeah, uh, we might not understand them sometimes,
mm,
especially if they're speaking a different language.
mm,
But it's also good to at least be able to see what they're saying. Because
mm,
like I said, between Vinicius and that player, we don't exactly know exactly what he said. He said,
mm,
"Oh no, I didn't say this." Vinny says he said this, so
mm,
it's going back. He said, she said type of situation when we really want to get down to brass tacks. Okay, what did you say? We can see what you said, and at the end of the day, this is the punishment you get for what you said. So
mm,
at least that way we know. So
mm,
if his punishment is correct, we can say, okay, yeah, you did a good job. If it's not correct, we can say, okay, you know what, we saw the footage, we can rectify this problem that we made, you know? So
mm,
that way, in this sense, it's good because that way it'll get the game flowing a bit better and it'll just clear up some mistakes, you know? Because at the end
mm,
of the day, well, these are what a lot of these like rules have come in for. Like
mm,
when the ball goes out, VAR can say, okay, you know what, it came off a so-and-so player, give it back to it should be a corner or goal kick.
Yeah.
So
mm,
this is the whole point of why VAR was brought in for, to fix up mistakes. So this is another incident where we made a mistake or we didn't make a mistake. At the end of the day, we don't really know what happened. So this will make sure this is black and white. We can see what this is, and we will rectify this or we will sort this out, to
mm,
make everybody's
mm,
life easier.
mm. Yes. And just before I go come to you, bro, I was just thinking now when you was talking, Tony, you went if they did like that, which is normal, right? Uh, covered just for audio description there, you covered your hands, you covered your mouth with your hands. Now the players, I think what they're targeting, I might be wrong, might be players covering their mouth with their shirt. Now, how do you differentiate that? Because sometimes you
Mm.
want to say, for instance, you want to take a free kick and you don't want the opponents to know, which way you want to take it or what style or whether you're going to jump over the ball and you go like that to your teammate. That could be classed as
Yeah.
covering your mouth as well. And bruv, please.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very good rule, and it's an interesting question you just raised. But I guess
Mm,
if as they often happens at free kicks, you get the two attackers, one of whom's going to take the kick. They do that, as we know, when they walk off the pitch. They're doing
mm,
that. They don't want to be lip read, so to speak.
mm,
Um, I think it's a very good rule because if you actually ask yourself in the course of a game, in game time, as Tony used that expression,
mm,
when would one player ever want to say something to an opponent during the match and put a hand over his mouth? I mean, they're not mates. Even if they are, they're not going to be necessarily doing that.
mm,
So, in other words, if they do that, you could perhaps have a pretty good bet they're saying something offensive, something they shouldn't be saying. So,
mm,
as long as they all know the rule, you don't say something to somebody and put your hand over your mouth. I
mm,
mean, as Tony said, there's lots of different languages out there on the football pitch. If you were
mm,
that aggrieved with someone who keeps fouling you, you you could quietly say something in a different language to that player, and they wouldn't understand what you said anyway. But then I suppose that would defeat the object of saying anything. But on
mm,
balance, I think it's a good thing because it will cut out. Clearly, the real risk is maybe some racist comment here and there. So if it
mm,
stops all that and the players
mm,
know they're going to be sent off if they do that, then it can only be good as far as I'm
mm,
concerned.
mm, mm. Yeah. Now there's rule number 4. Players who leave the pitch in protests will receive a red card. Teams who do the same will forfeit the match.
Well,
Now we know what that's referencing, don't we? It's referencing
yeah.
the Senegal and Morocco. Is it Morocco?
Yeah.
Yeah, Senegal, Morocco. What do we make of that?
Well, yeah, well, we try to keep it as civil as we can. You
Mm,
know, at the end of the day, football should be about the game, you know.
mm,
And if there are stuff like referees and stuff like that getting mixed up with politics like that, I feel like they shouldn't really be referees then in that sense of situation where
mm,
a player has to go out and make a protest about it when he comes off the pitch, or
mm,
like in the same situation, the whole team is angry because this referee is making some stupid mistakes or is intentionally not letting them get what they want.
mm,
So it's okay in a sense. Uh, we shouldn't, like I said, it shouldn't really. We shouldn't really be able to, like, the players shouldn't really have to protest in the sense of that because at the end of the day,
Mm.
it should be fair game. That's the whole point of like having a referee that's from a different, almost. Is it like the referees from a different continent to officiate a match or something like that?
mm,
So in that way, they can't really be biased in a sense. Of course,
mm,
there are some referees who are biased,
mm,
uh, but at the end of the day, they should be completely neutral in a sense.
mm, mm,
So if you can't always cut it out, but as much as we can try cut it out, it's not going to be easy.
mm,
Uh, but at the end of the day, referees, I kind of feel like it does a lot of it does stem from the referee. I'm not trying to say it's completely referee's fault, But at the time, a lot of these players are protesting because either it's not going in their favor or it's
mm,
either completely unbiased. I remember when, for just a quick experience, Ian Wright, he was playing in Arsenal at the time, and I can't remember, it's a well-known referee, and he goes, that day, he had it for me. And he openly said, I have it for you. Because
mm,
I think at the time, Ian Wright was just going on his nerves or something like that. That's what he was
mm,
saying. And he goes, the fouls he was getting, those should be red cards easily. But no, the
mm,
referee saying, play on. And he went on and on and on. And on the third one, I think third or fourth one, he said, oh, don't worry, ref, I understand, play on. So it, in those type of cases, this is where it's saying it's stemming from the referee because obviously he had a
mm,
bias. He didn't like that particular player,
mm,
and obviously, I mean, at the time, they didn't really protest in that time of football.
mm,
But now a lot of
mm,
these players have the media platforms and stuff like that, so they can protest.
mm,
So
mm,
this is why I say we should try keep neutral as much as we can.
mm,
So and on top of that, you know, if it's a big player, let's say
mm,
Ronaldo is protesting, of course the whole team is going to say, you know what, we're sticking with Ronaldo. We're
mm,
coming off the pitch too as well, you know. And
mm,
it's it's a tough one, but it should be a rule in force, you know. Because like I
mm,
said, in that way, if the player's not protesting, it
mm,
kind of makes it seem that okay, this is a fair game then, you know.
mm, mm. Yeah. Bruv.
Yeah, I mean, on the one of the points Tony made about where referees come from,
Mm,
I was really surprised in the opening match, Mexico South Africa.
mm,
I'm pretty sure I'm right on this. The ref was either Brazilian or Argentinian. Now we can
mm,
perhaps check that at some point. And I
mm,
remember thinking, well, that's a bit dicey because there may be rivalries. I mean, a bit like say England and Scotland. I know we're all in the same UK, but
mm,
South America, who's to say that a Brazilian isn't going to be biased against a Mexican footballer? And
mm,
it was either Brazilian. I think it was Brazilian, the ref, otherwise Argentinian. But we can check that out. But I was really surprised because I would have thought at the very least the ref should come from somewhere in North America or Europe. So
mm,
that was one that seemed to go against the grain. As for this rule about protests and teams or individuals walking off, I
mm,
think quite rightly FIFA are covering this base because this is only really, to my knowledge, I mean, when Senegal and Morocco had that game,
mm,
that situation was pretty much unheard of, where a team refuses to play on and they all troop off.
mm,
Maybe there are other examples, but not I would have thought, at a high level of
mm,
the game. Some say Senegal should have ended up being the champions, which they technically were not. But
mm,
so I suppose FIFA reacted with alarm, thinking, my God, we can't afford our Festival of World Football for a team or an individual, but certainly a team to suddenly say, no, we're not putting up with this, either from the ref or the crowd, comments from the crowd or from other players. You
mm,
cannot have a team taken off the pitch, or going off the pitch protesting, short of
mm,
there being a riot and the ref takes them off. That's different. But no,
mm,
if a team decides to go off as a protest about anything, I think absolutely they should forfeit the game. Now, that's not to say there wouldn't be some pretty horrible events leading up to a team, a manager saying, right, everybody off. But it could happen. And once it's happened once, it could happen again. So I think it's right that FIFA are jumping in and saying, no, if anyone does this, these are the penalties. So yeah,
mm,
I think it's a very good thing.
mm. Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking about the disrepute it would bring to the, to the game as well, having I mean, I watched the one with Morocco and Senegal, and I wasn't quite impressed with the way the whole thing went, but I at least it brought something to the spotlight, and it highlighted a problem, something
Yeah,
that
yeah,
could
absolutely.
potentially be a problem on the world stage. Now, the fifth and final one, I think we've talked about in the past, but There's one addition there that I don't think we talked about. So VAR can check one, second yellow cards, which we've talked about, and then it says corner decisions, which we've obviously talked about. But then it says it can check mistaken identity. Now that's thrown me off a little bit. Mistaken identity, how does that come into the equation?
Well, there have been quite a few times over the years
Mm,
that the ref ends up booking the wrong player or even sending off the wrong player. I mean, I can't specifically remember the details of any one, but I
mm,
know players have been sent off pleading their innocence. So it wasn't me, Gov, it wasn't me, ref. And they've
yeah.
still, no, off you go. So I think it's unlikely and it's unusual, but it does happen.
Right.
So if it does, I think VAR is there to make sure that justice prevails.
Yeah, Tony.
And we've already seen it in one match where it was saying mistaken identity. I
All
think it
right.
was supposed to be I can't remember the match now, but it was the most. I think it was Brazil or Morocco. It was a big match, like one of the big ones we're playing, and the player just fell, completely fell. Like he said, like the one player he was fouled him. I mean, his leg was stretched out, but it was nowhere near to the point where he tripped him and he fell over. He literally just
Mm,
flopped to the ground and was like, "Oh, I've been touched." Oh, you know, and then in the end, it was overturned to saying, "Okay, that's not a foul." You know,
mm,
so it,
mm,
it, it is working now. But there are times where, like Trevor said, there are players getting banned for absolutely no reason, and we've seen it.
Mm,
You know, you'd be like, there'll be two players arguing. One player will come up to the ref, maybe try to influence, saying, "Oh, you know, my boy is here. He's right." You know,
mm,
and then in the end, he's
mm,
like, "Red, red, red." He's like, "What am I getting the red for?" You know. So in a sense, it is good because that way, if you're just sending off a player because he came up to you and you said, "Oh, he also did it," even though he
mm.
wasn't,
mm.
you're affecting the game. You are infecting the game in a sense. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Right. Okay. So the next one is this Somalian referee or Somali referee, Omar Artan, will receive his full FIFA World Cup tournament fee despite being denied entry into the United States, according to reports. Now, um, we don't know the detail. I don't know the details. Maybe one of you does, but I don't know the details. It might have been politically motivated. We're not making any assumptions, but should he get full pay?
Well, again, it probably depends on the circumstances. If he's been banned, I saw there was a player who was, well, I think Thomas Partey is a player who's banned now because of a criminal conviction, a failed appeal. So that's one example. I wasn't aware of this referee, but again, it depends why he's being banned. If I mean, America generally doesn't allow people in if you've got a criminal conviction. Now, sometimes that may seem harsh if it's something technical, if you like. So maybe this was along those lines. But if the ref concerned did have a more serious criminal conviction,
Mm,
which maybe should have been declared earlier or something like that, then it is a bit hard to see why he or she, I guess, but it's probably a man in this case, why
mm,
they should receive their full pay. So I think without knowing the whys and wherefores of what that was about, why that
mm,
person was banned, it's
mm.
hard to know whether it's a justified payment, really, I'd have
Yeah.
thought.
True, true. Yeah, the enforcer.
Uh, yeah. Apparently, the links were, and this is complete rumors, that it was links to terrorism.
Oh, right.
That's obviously we don't know the full story.
Sure,
These are
we
what
don't
the
know the full
rumors.
story.
No,
But I agree with Trevor in a sense that he shouldn't really deserve to get the pay because that's like saying you work at a construction site, but you had a day off, so everybody's working that full day. Why, in a sense, even though you didn't really work that, why are you getting a full day like wage in a sense? You
yeah.
know, you're not at the tournament. Why are you getting paid your wage even though you weren't there? You know, it's not really
Mm,
fair because there are referees who's getting abused. First of all, they get abused all the time, not just
mm,
by the players, by the fans,
mm,
and they have to do it for the entire tournament, which is not just one day or one
mm,
week. It's
mm.
it's literally the entire tournament. and they're in the sun. They're running up and down the pitches too, just like the players. But this one, a referee didn't get his visa, whatever, sorted out, and he gets to relax at home and get all of it,
Yeah.
which is completely. It's not fair. It's not
I
fair
would.
at all.
Yeah.
If that was me and I was a referee who was in that heat, running up and down with the players, getting abused, I would be fairly annoyed because I'm here doing my job, and you're at home on on your sofa or wherever watching a match, getting paid. That's not fair at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you think being denied a spot in the spotlight, do you think that's enough to warrant? Do you think that's enough to merit him being getting paid? Because if he was there, obviously everybody would it would be added to his CV. It would raise his profile. Maybe that's compensation for that. I
Well,
don't know. Because
Yeah, I
I
mean, I
would,
think
yeah,
also, as we say, we don't know the reason. But
we
I
don't
know
know.
of a case, of sort of a friend of mine going back about 7 or 8 months.
Mm,
Was he booked up to go to New York for a few days with his
mm,
two daughters?
mm,
I mean, they were both late teenagers, early 20s.
mm,
Now, initially, I believe both of the girls they were refused esters, which are the things you need to go to the United States. Their dad got it okay, but there was no explanation given. Now, as I say, this is probably 6 or 9 months ago because they then applied. They could apply again, I think, after 6 months, and that time they both got them. So
mm,
there was never an explanation as to why these esters weren't given. Yes, as we
mm,
say, if someone had a criminal conviction, which they didn't, nothing
mm,
of the sort. There was just no explanation. Their holiday, they had to cancel it. They lost money on the deposit and everything else. But they have subsequently got those esters, and I believe they're going in the next couple of months.
mm,
So again, that's a possibility. People don't always know why they've been turned down for admission to the States. America generally is pretty strict.
mm,
And anyone who goes through their airports, you have your fingerprints taken and all the usual stuff, and they're pretty strict on it, which they should be. I mean, that's I suppose 9/11 made it even more strict for them, quite rightly. But
mm,
yeah, it may be they don't know why the ref was refused entry. You'd have thought with somebody at that level
mm,
with these World Cup games, there would have been an explanation. So maybe they know why it was, but it
mm,
could be they were never told. So maybe, out of sympathy, they said, well, we'll pay you anyway.
mm. Okay. Fair explanation. Now, earlier we talked about Lionel Messi as being a lazy sort of player. I didn't share that. I wasn't in agreement with both of you. But
You should
now,
have done it this way. You should have said he's a lazy player.
yeah,
We could have sent
then
you
I
off
would
then.
then
okay.
I would have got a red card then. Yeah. But this is Bradley Bacola, French player. He says, we will do, this was before the game last night. He says, we will do everything to help Kylian Mbappe score. He can really become the all-time World Cup scorer this tournament. It's an honor for France to have such a player. Now, he's saying we will do everything to feed him the ball. Yeah, we'll do all the legwork. Just make sure we get the ball to this Mbappe guy. Does that not put him in the class of Messi in a way? According to this guy, is that not what they've done with him? Feed him the ball, make sure he scores.
Of
Tony?
course, in a sense, yeah, it's great that you want to do that, but I've always gone in a disagreement with that. Like, you always want to try to feed that player for. Don't you want to make your own name? You know, yes, you got all these great players. They made the name for themselves, but
Mm,
don't you want to be part of that legacy? In a sense, I've
mm,
always seen it as it's a good concept in a sense. It inspires the players. It gets them going. But at the end of the day, it's like a double-edged sword. It's great for one side, but the other side, it's coming back to you as well. It's football isn't just the Ronaldo show or the
mm,
Messi show. It's
mm,
also you. You are a player, you know?
mm,
So make your own legacy there in whatever club, in international, wherever.
mm,
Just make your own name. Because at the end of the day, would, metaphorically speaking, would that player do the same for you in a sense? Because
mm,
that's how I always see things in some certain aspects of it.
mm,
Like, okay, you're saying I want to do this for this player, but would they
mm,
really do that for you in a sense? Because
mm,
obviously some players have characters. Like Zlatan was always like, "Oh, I am the god," I am Zlatan, But off the
mm,
pitch, he was the nicest guy on the planet, He is, he still is. But sometimes characters can influence in things in the game, in a sense.
mm, mm,
Another player who was like that was Kobe Bryant in
mm,
basketball. Um, he was always had that character, and like, in a sense, he made his own name for it as well.
mm,
But there's also other players, I keep going back. Make your own name. It's great that you want to have this, and like I said, it can be inspiring in some
mm,
cases. But I've always seen it as it's a double-edged sword. It can come back to you too,
mm.
if I'm using that analogy, you're right. Double-edged sword. Yeah,
Double edged sword, yeah.
yeah.
Can come back to starve you or cut you. Bruv.
Yeah, I think that's quite an interesting one because the first thing that sort of comes to mind is as a team, you want to play to your strengths. That's the first
Mm,
obvious thing. And if you
mm,
know you've got an excellent player up front or in midfield, but you think, yeah, let's get the ball to him because he generally will do something good, he'll score or whatever. So you sort of understand that. I take Tony's point about players should actually also be playing for themselves as well as the team. But it comes about also by saying that publicly, we all know what's going to happen. It happened anyway, I guess. The opponents will always be double marking Mbappe because of what one of his colleagues has said. Oh, yeah, we want to give everything to Mbappe and he'll do the business. Well, he did do very well last night in the second half, as we know. But that wasn't necessarily because the team were focused on getting the ball to him. We know
mm,
that another player, if you get the ball somewhere near him, he'll score, and that's Harry Kane. And I don't really think the rest of the team need to think, well, we just better find Harry. Because when you look at the way Harry Kane plays, he's actually very mobile. Talk about Messi and others who are lazy. He's all
mm,
over the shop, really, and in a very positive way. He'll come back, especially if he's not getting much action, very quickly. He'll say, well, I'm going to come back and get the ball myself. He'll always get on the end of a decent cross or free kick. You don't have to think, where's Harry? Because he'll be there. He's got that magical instinct of where to be. That football brain tells him where to be when he sees a corner coming, or a free kick, or just a
mm,
cross. So of course the players know it's in their nature to know get the ball to Harry Kane, but I don't think you need to say it. And I think maybe in Mbappe's case, what Tony was saying earlier about the going to Real Madrid, and he didn't perhaps quite shine as much. And I'm
mm,
sure for many players in a situation where they've been transferred for huge amounts of money, it's the
mm,
weight of expectation. Oh, I've got to sort of justify this fee, even if they're not consciously thinking that. And we've seen that. I mean, in the early days for Isak at Liverpool, he wasn't doing too much. And of course, then he got injured. But the weight of expectation on a player can hamstring a lot of players. But you see Harry Kane, it never stopped him. He just became brilliant. Let's hope he is tonight. Sorry, Tony, but let's hope Harry is doing really well. Another player who had a lot of expectation on him was Michael Elise, who left Palace. We found him in Reading, and he sort of came good under Oliver Glasner. We lost
mm,
him then, sadly, to Bayern. And
mm,
he's now really a global superstar. His assists, I mean, two assists last night. He's a fantastic footballer who hasn't worried about the weight of expectation was upon him. But many players do worry about that. So yeah, I don't think it's a good thing for any colleague of Mbappe to say, yeah, we've got to get the ball to him because you're almost. I mean, it's obvious, but you're giving away your own tactics that you're going to be bending your play at all times to get the ball through to him. And maybe he won't, because he'll be heavily marked, as he always is, he won't be
mm,
able to do the business, partly because he's been highlighted by a colleague. So,
mm,
yeah, just play the game. A good player will always get himself in the right place at the right time.
mm. Absolutely, yeah. Now, Spain played, but the
Yeah.
highlight or the spotlight was stolen by a goalkeeper instead. Vozinha, I think it's called, for Cape Verde. Now, they seem to talk about his 40-year-old, is what did Spain do wrong in that? Because we know Spain is a really good footballing country. What happened there?
In my opinion, I feel like they've strongly misjudged Cape Verde because they didn't put Riot in there, the best goalkeeper they have. They didn't put Yamal on straight away. They kept all like their top players on the bench because they as automatically assumed, oh, we're going to win this by 3-0, and then come second half, we're going to get extra goals. And I feel like that's a strong misjudge on their part because as we've seen Scotland versus Haiti, and I'll be honest, Haiti really surprised me. I did not expect them to turn up how they did that day.
Mm.
And it's just unlucky that they didn't get the goals. They had the chances, but unfortunately either hit the bar or something. So this is the thing about the World Cup is that we can't always misjudge teams that we think, you know what? Yeah, 5-0 instantly, right? So that's why this is why we can't be like Spain that day. We can't always misjudge these teams because at the end of the day, they have a lot to prove. Like
Mm,
that same thing with Croatia back in 2018. We
mm,
were smaller than what we are now. We still
mm,
had all these great, like the golden generation that we called it, but
mm,
we didn't expect really to shine as we did during that tournament.
mm,
And a lot of the teams that we went against all completely mistook us, and it cost them dearly. So
mm,
it's the same thing with Spain, with Cape Verde, what they did. And
mm,
obviously, honestly, credit to that goalkeeper because I watched it when I was in the gym and I was watching the match there. It was absolutely brilliant.
it
Like
was, yeah. I watched it as well.
I was thinking, we need this guy at Man United as well as he was. I was like, we need this keeper with us. He was absolutely brilliant. And
It
for his age
was.
as well, for his age, to be stretched out like how he
Yeah.
was, and to
Yeah.
like, I mean, I'm 27 now. And I'm just like, oh, like, when I'm stretching or anything, I'm like, oh, that one's a bit overstretched. Imagine him.
Mm,
Imagine him, and I don't really know what club he plays for, but,
mm,
it's it's a tough gig, especially when you get older in
Mm.
age doing all these things. It does have a toll, and he did
yeah.
absolutely brilliant that game.
Mm,
Honestly,
it did.
hats off.
Absolutely. I'd love to know what his diet is. Bruv. Yes, please, bruv.
Yeah. What can you say about that goalkeeper? He was out of this world, wasn't he? His determination, and he kept them all out. I happen to think that so far was the result, the game of the tournament for a result. As I said before, we tend to think of maybe dare I say, the Panamas, the Cape Verdes, the Haitis as, oh, well, they're going walkovers for the teams. And of course, they're not. Every World Cup seems to make this point more and more that the so-called lesser teams I mean, Cape Verde, I think, has a population of 500,000. Now
Mm,
that's nothing compared to Spain, who they drew 0-0 with. I mean, it's a bit like, I'm trying to think of an example. I mean, a pal of mine is years long season ticket holder at Sutton. Now, Sutton, they went up to League Two and they've gone back down to the National League, and they stayed in that last season. But they've got a great history of giant killings going back Coventry and Leeds, etc. So they're a good little side, Sutton. But it's a bit like Sutton drawing 0-0. And this is no disrespect to Sutton. I probably shouldn't be using them as an example, but them drawing 0-0 with Man City or Arsenal, and you think,
mm,
wow, how did that work? And I think this is that equivalent because Spain are right up there, really, with the bookmakers in terms of, I think, France, Spain, and then we're about fifth, I think, but we're still in front of Brazil, and some other teams there. But yeah, that's an incredible result, and yeah, it has to be in large part down to that amazing goalkeeper. If Cape Verde do knighthoods, I think he should get a double one, whatever happens next, because he was phenomenal. Strangely,
Mm,
when you get a result like that, and it may hopefully won't happen this time, but in the next game, that team gets thrashed by someone else in the group. You know, they lose 6-0, and that
mm,
strangely that does happen. It's almost like they put so much into this game against, you know, the world champions.
mm.
It's phenomenal what they did, and I'm not sure. I mean, I don't. I read limited press on my phone. I don't ever read I don't buy newspapers, so I don't really know what they've said about this. But I don't get the feeling from TV, at least, that they've been sufficiently praised for what a result that was. It was incredible. I mean, it must have destroyed thousands of accumulator football bets, mustn't it? Who would have put 0-0?
Oh yeah.
No, I think you can safely say nobody,
Nobody.
nobody. So the bookmakers made a fortune on that, I expect. But yeah, 0-0 with Spain is an incredible result, and I for one will be very keen to see their next result, and I'm sure, hopefully, they'll do well again. Incredible
Yeah.
result.
Yeah, it was a really good result, even though he ended the goalless. But yeah, both sides. Yeah. Now England. So we're playing tonight, and guess who we're playing? Croatia. Right. Let's start with you. Let's start with you, Tony. Predictions.
I've said it before. It's either going to be a draw
Okay.
or a one-goal win,
Yeah.
or a
In favor
mistake,
of.
whichever. I'm not bothered.
Oh, okay.
Like I
Okay.
said, this is like my honest opinion. I feel like it'll be a draw or a
All right.
one-goal win or a mistake that's come from either side, and
Mm,
that one goal will probably be it for the rest of the game.
mm.
So, like I said, it's either one of those three of my predictions that's going to be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is anyone in our group played already? Do we
No,
know? Ghana?
No, I
it's the
think
first game.
Oh, we'll be the
no.
first. Oh,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yes.
yeah.
Yes, bruv.
Well, I think I go with Tony, and I think it'll be a draw. I mean, I hate to think England could lose. I think until we really see how his Tuchel's team plays, because he's not really, apart from the other day, he's not played the team that he's playing tonight. We won't
Mm,
really know how well together they are. But yeah, I just know Croatia are a good side.
mm.
You know, the more so than some of the sides now we say are getting better and better. They've been good for a long time. So I put it this way. I hate to say it, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do lose by the odd goal.
Mm.
But I will predict a draw at 2-2.
Mm. Okay. Okay. That's 2-2. I'm going straight down for a win. England trash and 3-0. Boom. Job done. Job's a good in. That's the saying, Yorkshire. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm going for. Now, the man of the match awards, right? So for France, who would you give to? Who would you give the man of the match award to for
I'd
France?
say I'd say Michael Elise.
Okay.
I think he was the man of the match, definitely.
It was definitely the man of the match, yeah. And Tony, who would you give it to?
I'll be honest, I didn't really watch the match, so I don't
No,
really,
no.
I can't give my opinion on
Yeah.
who should have been
Okay.
there.
That's fair. Fair enough. Fair enough. What about Norway? That's what's his name? Erling Haaland's
Yeah.
country. Yeah, okay, yeah. Who would you give it to?
I'll give it to the Iraqi player who scored the first goal because
Right.
I mean I know Norway won, but
Yes.
out of the determination and how Iraq played throughout the entire game,
Yeah.
uh, I would give it to that player. Like I said, I can't remember the name, but
Yeah.
he was absolutely brilliant that game.
I didn't even know Iraq was in the World Cup. I thought it was just Iran.
That's Iraq as well.
Yeah, yeah, bruv, who would you give it to? Norway,
Yeah,
Iraq?
I would go with Haaland. I think he scored two of the goals. I think he deserves that because he's so good at
Mm,
picking off the goals. So I go
yeah,
with him.
yeah. Well, there's no telling who the Argentina one would be, would you?
Hmm.
Who would you give it to?
I want to.
I'd have to
Yeah,
give it to Messi because he
it
scored three
was.
goals.
It was
Hey,
Messi, yeah, it was Messi.
Yeah,
So you can't give it to anybody else. This is like, yeah,
no.
Messi,
yeah.
Messi. Now, what about the Netherlands match? Who would you give it to? Now, there's two contenders there. I don't actually know who you went to, but two contenders, Lukaku and the former Manchester City, brought Kevin De Bruyne.
For
My frozen.
Netherlands, I'm sure it's Belgium,
Netherlands.
no?
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
Belgium,
Belgium, isn't
yeah.
he? Yeah,
Belgium.
yeah.
I meant Belgium. Yeah, sorry.
Because you've got Van Dijk. Van Dijk is Netherlands, isn't he?
It is Netherlands, yeah. So, all right. So let's make it a three horse race then. So Van Dijk, Lukaku, Kevin De Bruyne. Who deserves it?
Well, I think Van Dijk, he played well in defence. I mean, they drew, didn't they, with Japan?
They did, yes.
And he scored a goal. He scored a very good headed goal. He
What
was
did
the
Japan
complete
or Egypt?
player.
Did
Hmm?
they play Japan or Egypt? I'm just let me
It was
see.
Belgium versus Egypt.
It
Belgium,
was
Egypt,
Egypt,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Netherlands, Japan. Yeah.
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 No, I would
Yeah.
give it to Van Dijk because he was the complete defender come player that he's always been for Liverpool.
Okay. Um, the enforcer, what would you give
Uh,
it to?
I'll stick with Trevor's original one as well. Same Van Dijk. Yeah, captain of the Netherlands squad, played his part, led his team as much as they could. Obviously, they
Mm.
drew, but yeah, I mean, he did get the man of the match as well during
Oh,
the
did
time.
he? Van Dyke.
So
All
yeah,
right. Well, there
so
you go
yeah,
then. Yeah,
same thing.
rightfully deserve that. Yeah. Now, Leicester City. I know we're in a World Cup mode, but I can't help think about Van Nistelrooy. He was there at Leicester City when he left United as interim coach, wasn't
Yeah,
he? And then Leicester City went down. I didn't know at what point did he leave Leicester City?
I think it was just near the end. I would say just before they were going to get relegated, like a
All
few
right.
matches before. It wasn't straight away after, but it was a few matches before, and
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah,
Only reason why I brought that up was because I thought about Carrick and I thought, well, when Van Nistelrooy took over as interim, he did win a few matches as well,
he
didn't
did.
he?
Yeah.
It was quite impressive. And I thought, and when they said they were going to replace him, I thought, what a shame. We could have just left the guy there. But now I'm thinking,
Yeah, I was there for the Europa League match against Bodo Glimt,
all
and
right,
we played
okay,
well. Obviously, one side where Tyrell Malacia was our weakest side, but overall, his how do you call it now? His system worked in a sense
it
for
is.
us. Obviously, it didn't
Yeah,
work out Leicester, but it is what it is.
yeah, yeah. Bruv, please.
Yeah, I mean it's sad actually, isn't it? A team that actually won the Premier League 10 years ago
Mm,
has gone straight through, haven't they? Down to League One,
mm,
which is sad by any standards. I just hope they come back. And I just would, if I may, put a word in for the fact that Palace have got a new manager, Pierre
Yeah,
Sarge, Frenchman
yeah,
from
yeah.
Lens, who's got a good CV so far. And he seems very pleased with himself to be at Palace. He's had good
Mm,
photographs taken at the ground, etc., with his shirt on and all that. I mean, I'm really pleased that Parish and the owners have appointed someone nice and early and not after the World Cup, when
mm,
pre-season preparation should be in full swing. So,
mm,
yeah, I think and probably most Palace fans, if not all, are very pleased with this early appointment. And from looking into it, he does look to be a good fellow. So, and of course, it might mean that we keep Mateta because
mm,
he's French, obviously, and Lacroix, both of whom are in the French squad.
mm,
It's obviously good for foreign players in the Premier League to have a manager who is of their own ethnicity, if you like, their own
mm,
language. So
mm,
yeah, I wish, we all wish, I'm sure, Pierre Sarge well in his new role.
yeah. Now, I don't think I know much about Sarge, but we'll soon find out. Maybe he's got
We will.
a good profile. Now, you mentioned Mateta, and I know we've talked about France, but was he playing? I don't remember
No, he was
him
on the
playing.
bench. He was on the bench, and he didn't
Yeah,
come on, and nor did
yeah,
Lacroix.
no,
Maxence Lacroix, excellent central defender. But
yeah,
I'm sure they will both feature in French games.
yeah. Well, I hope they do. Yeah. Now, what do we make of Cucurella? Cucurella. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Mark
Yes, you
Cucurella
are. Yeah,
from Chelsea going to Real Madrid.
Real Madrid.
Yeah, he's at Real Madrid now, I think. Yeah. Um, I do. I wouldn't think Real Madrid would be interested in a player like Cucurella. Um, I mean, I saw this game against Cape Verde where he played. I think it was a bit average, judging on the score line, solely on the score line anyway, which I think it was. But what do we do? Is it Madrid stuff? Is it Madrid material? What
I
do you
feel like
think?
mainly I think it's just to fill the quota for Spanish players. Because to
Ah,
be fair, um, Real Madrid, as much as they're buying players from all sorts, they don't really have like proper Spanish players playing for Real Madrid.
right, right.
Before they had many of them, and they have
Mm,
like a tradition after when they win the UCL, like where they get like the flag, and they do like a sway, like a ball coming through.
yeah,
Uh, that's like a tradition that only the Spanish player born can do. Like no one else can do
right.
like unless they're Spanish. And I kind of feel like they need at least a Spanish player in the squad because a lot of them, like obviously Mbappe's from France, Vinny's from Brazil, Bellingham's from England,
Mm,
Tchouaméni, all these like they don't really have enough Spanish players. But also, I
right.
mean, he is good in his own right, in a
Mm,
sense. He's won the Club World Cup. He's won
mm,
Champions League. Uh, was he there for when they won the Premier League? I don't know. But
mm,
regardless, in a sense, he was a backbone for Chelsea
mm,
as well,
mm,
defensively and on the wings. So he's a good player in his own right.
mm,
Especially for when they won in the Euros as well. He was a big player then,
mm,
and he has made a name for himself. They've made that song that Cuckoo Korea, be careful because he's on the wings and all these things. Like Haaland
yeah,
is trembling and stuff like that.
yeah,
But I would not link him to Real Madrid in a sense. In that
yeah.
sense,
I'm quite surprised, bruv.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. I think I wouldn't link him with Real Madrid. I think
Mm,
he is a good player. I mean, I was watching him the other night for Spain, and
mm,
he does get down that wing. He scampers down there. And I mean, I have a suspicion with his long hair, he gets a bit of additional lift, in the wind because he's got such an incredible hairstyle, isn't he? And he whips down that wing. He is he's actually for a fullback or wing back, he's actually quite short, which is not always an advantage, but he's got speed. He really takes off down the wing, and very often he
mm,
then cuts in and can. The ball's crossed, he'll head it back in for someone to put it in the goal. And that nearly
mm,
happened a few times the other day. So I don't think we should underestimate him. He was good at Brighton. That's where he was kind of noticed, and then went to Chelsea. I think he's been one of Chelsea's better players. But
mm,
again, when I saw that Real Madrid had come for him, and
mm,
it was quite a big fee as far as I remember. But yeah, my initial reaction was surprise, and I suppose that's what happens when one of the world's big clubs, be
mm,
they Real Madrid, Barcelona, Man United, when they go for a player, you think, well, is that player good enough for them because of this great reputation? Those three teams and PSG as well,
Hmm.
and others, when they have this great reputation, so not anybody can go to those teams. I'm not saying Cucurella is just anybody because he's good, but I don't think I would put him in the league of Real Madrid.
No, no. I thought sorry, and I thought, well, you know, strange things do happen in football.
They do. They do.
I thought, right. Okay, so I've got 2 minutes. Emiliano Martinez is, in my opinion, is the best goalkeeper in the world. But I know both of you will disapprove of that. What do we make of him so far?
He's
Emiliano Martinez
Argentina, isn't he? I mean, he won
is,
the Golden Glove in the was it the Euros? They won there, didn't they? Argentina.
World
what is
Cup.
it,
Well, it can't be the
2022?
Euros. It was the
Yeah,
talk rubbish. Of course, not the Euros. It was
yeah.
the
The World
22
Cup.
World Cup.
World Cup, yeah.
Yeah, and he was obviously very good. I think he's a very good player. To me, he's a frustrating goalkeeper because he very often he'll come to the edge of one side of the penalty area with the ball at his feet. It's almost, tempting the attackers to come and get the ball, and of course they don't because they can be put out the game by his pass. So he does keep doing things like that. But on balance, I mean, I have to admit, I think he's a very good goalkeeper. So,
Mhm.
you know, Argentina 3-0 that he didn't let any goals in. What can you say? He's a
Yeah,
good goalkeeper. I just don't
yeah. I mean,
really, I don't really take to him
yeah,
personality wise for what
yeah.
that's worth.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think there's two teams that's kept a clean sheet so far. I don't know if others have joined. I think it's Scotland and what's it called? Argentina so far. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well,
Is there any other?
also Spain and Spain
Spain
and
and Cape
Cape Verde.
Verde, yeah,
Yeah.
There
yeah,
you go. Oh no,
and
I
South
mean
and
with
South
a
Africa.
win,
Sorry,
with a
I
win
see.
that's
With a
won
win.
the game. Yeah. So two
Yeah,
teams that's kept a clean sheet and won the game. I don't know, but
Mexico did. Mexico beat South
Yeah.
Africa, didn't they?
Yeah. Yep.
also Mexico, uh,
Scotland.
Argentina, and Scotland. Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yes. Lastly, Tony on Emiliano Martinez. Be careful though. I love him.
I'll
He's
be
very,
honest. In
yeah.
a sense of saying, I mean, he is a good goalkeeper. I'm not saying he's the worst, but to say he's the greatest is a big stretch in a
Mm,
sense. He made that important save in the last World Cup, of course, and that was the important save that ended up helping him win.
mm,
But up to that point,
mm,
no one really cared for him.
mm.
Even like in terms of club football, he's not really the best. He's the only goalkeeper who has more own goals than anybody else in the entire history
Okay.
of goalkeeping, you know?
Wow. Wow.
So in that sense, that is why I don't see him as a great goalkeeper.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And when he was supposed to leave Aston Villa, well, 2 seasons ago now, uh,
Mm,
making tears out of his eyes, clapping goodbye, and there were links of him coming to Man United,
mm.
just for him to stay there. It kind of shows a bit that your ego's a bit too high and you need
Right.
to see the bigger picture because nobody got him and he was free. He was
Mm.
completely free. We didn't take him and we needed a goalkeeper, and in the end, we bought
Yeah.
Lamont. And we thought Lamont would have been the second goalkeeper for us, but in the end, he ended up being first.
Mm,
So you mean you've got other great clubs that could have taken him for free, like Man City,
mm,
Arsenal.
mm.
Well, yeah, Arsenal needed a goalkeeper at the time as well, and they
Mm.
took Raya over him. So it kind of shows that yeah, he could be a good goalkeeper, but
Mm.
he does make a lot of mistakes. And if
Mm.
you watch a lot of the Arsenal games, you will see he is the reason why sometimes they're lacking a bit because he made a mistake. You know,
Yeah.
Mm.
it's the same situation what happened in Norway versus Iraq game where the goalkeeper was just standing there for too long, and you don't stand there when Haaland is charging
Yeah,
at you.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
So the same thing happened with Martinez, where he did the same situation in a sense, but
Mm.
it was too late because
Mm,
the player was already there and he put the ball in the net.
mm,
So, like I said, the greatest goalkeeper of all time? No,
mm.
but
No.
he is a good keeper in a sense that he has made a name for himself as a good
Mm,
keeper. Yeah.
mm.
Yeah.
No, okay. Yeah, I know Bruv don't like him because of his temperament.
He has got a temperament about him, hasn't he?
Yes, he
And
does.
I
Yeah,
think, to be honest, it's silly of me, really. But when he won the Golden Glove at the last World Cup,
yeah.
he was quite, well, I don't know what the word would be. He was quite
Cocky.
abusive.
Cocky.
Remember, he sort of used the glove in a way, and I just thought that was completely unnecessary. So, but I mean, hell, I mean, it's football, isn't it? I mean, these things happen in the heat of the moment, I suppose.
Mm. So yeah, so this is all we've got time for. Um, I've been Emmy Hickens. You've been watching the. Sorry, this is all we've got time for. Join us again next week, where we discuss more matters about football, World Cup, and everything. So this is all we've got time for this week. I've been Emmy Hickens, and he call me Cuz. Right.
And I'm Trevor Gear, and he calls me bruv.
And I'm Tony, and they call me the Enforcer.
Yeah, and we both call him the enforcer. So it's a goodbye from
Yeah.
me. Join us again next week.
Goodbye from me
Bye.
too.